Cool. So at this point, let's go ahead and get started. We want to have two blocks, a blanket or something to pad your knees, and a strap if you feel like your hamstrings would prefer it near the end. It'll be an option. We are going to start standing today. And we're going to do a little bit of prop setup before we do that. So what we'll do is at the top of your space, go ahead and bring both of your blocks. And I would encourage you to just set them on their highest setting. The strap, if you're using it, you'll just put that somewhere off to the side. And then your blanket, if it starts off like this, which is about quartered, you might fold it in half, or you might fold that in eighths. It's totally up to you, depending upon how much support you'd like for your knees. And you're going to roughly put that in the middle of your space. You might need to adjust that during the practice, but for now, it'll start there. Awesome. And then once you feel like you've got all your props sorted the way that you would like them, you'll start standing at the top of your space. And go ahead and stand with your feet about hip distance apart. So blanket ideally, Barbara, move it up so it's in the middle of your mat. So you have room to, there you go. Awesome. Okay, so start standing at the top of your space. Feet about hip distance apart. Go ahead and soften the gaze or close the eyes. And I want you to just check in and notice what you notice. You might want to circle shoulders here. You might want to maybe rotate through the spine. You might want to just do a little bit of leaning from side to side. Just notice what you notice. And then once you feel like you've gotten whatever initial movement out that feels like it would be great for you, find yourself in a still spot. So just bring the body to more stillness, and then bring a hand to your heart and a hand to your abdomen. And with the eyes still soft or the gaze closed down completely, I want you to just take a couple of breaths here. And so at the beginning, I want you to notice just really, how are the feet feeling? Are you still moving a little bit side to side? Is maybe your weight going a little front to back? Notice if you can soften any tension around your shoulders, across your fingers. And then you're just going to take 5 deep breaths in through the nose and an audible breath out through the mouth. And as you take the next 4 breaths on your own, you're just allowing the breath to start to drop you into this moment, to start to ground you into this moment. Notice if you can keep a slight bend in your knees, but an energetic line from your sit bones to your heels. Awesome. At the end of your next exhalation, bring your hands to the back of your bum, and you're going to hold onto your butt cheeks. And then I want you to just slowly slide your hands down your legs, bringing your fingers down to your feet or the floor or your blocks. And you'll just take a couple of breaths here. And really, as weird as this sounds, I want you to make little adjustments in your feet. And so notice what happens if you shift your weight a micromillimeter forward, or shift your weight a micromillimeter back. And I'm using the word micro intentionally because I might not see anything. An outside observer watching you might not see anything. But you can feel this as you shift your weight forward and back. Then you'll find yourself back into center, back into stillness. And then I want you to take those micromillimeter movements to the right and to the left. And as you do this, you might notice that it changes what's happening in your hamstrings, your calves. You might notice that it's changing what's happening in your sacrum, all through the spine and in the head. And you just take a moment to pause, and you take a moment to breathe. And then you'll find yourself in stillness, find yourself in neutral. And I want you to press down into the big toe mound, your pinky toe mound, the outer edge of your feet. I want you to see if you can draw your sit bones down to your feet and then just let your head become a little heavier as it cascades forward. Fantastic. On your next in breath, let's come to halfway lift, either fingers on blocks or floor. Take a moment here to really draw your pubic bone back behind you, reach your heart and sternum forward, and just notice what it feels like to find a little bit of length here while you still pay attention to the four corners of your feet. On your next exhale, you'll bend your knees, plant your palms, and then step your left leg long and back. Awesome. So with your left leg back, you might find that maybe this would be a great time for you to put your hands on your blocks. Maybe your hands stay on the floor. It's totally up to you. But what I would encourage you to do here is I want you to lift your inner left thigh up so much, like I have a hot air balloon attached to it. Press into your right foot and see if you can descend your pelvis while you lift your inner left thigh up. Then reach your inside seam of your left leg back, the inside seam of your right knee forward. Descend your pelvis, lift the inner left thigh. Take a moment to pause here and then reach your sternum and heart forward. And just notice what you notice happening in the breath. Notice the power of the legs by pressing into your feet. And then on your next exhale, gently lower your back knee down to your padding, to your blanket, whatever is there. Cool. And then again, you're going to push down into your back knee. I want you to think of descending the pelvis, but lifting your inner left thigh just a smidge away from the floor. Pull your heart forward, draw the shoulder blades away from your ears, and just take a moment to pause and breathe here. Nice work. On your next exhale, start to make the hands a little lighter. Press into your right foot. Walk your hands up to the center of your right thigh. Again, we're drawing the inner thigh back behind us. Our tailbone will now drop down. And then go ahead and reach your left arm forward like you're going to shake somebody's hand. And then keep reaching through your pinky finger until your left arm is alongside your ear. Now you're going to stay here. Draw your front ribs in and back. Lengthen your tailbone down. Press into your right foot. Press back into your left big toe. You might stay here and just enjoy a nice stretch happening across the front of your left thigh. You might start to take a side bend towards your right. And again, we're just taking an opportunity to pause, taking a moment to breathe. Nice work. Next in breath, go ahead and come back up through center. As you exhale, hands come down to the floor or the blocks. Blocks, you'll step off to the right and left. Step your right leg back to meet your left. And then just take a moment to find our sad non-California cows. So your heart descends, your sit bones lift. You're in this hands and knees, super sad head. Yep, arms straight. Okay. Now we're going to take a couple of serratus push-ups here. So keeping your head heavy, keeping your sit bones bright. I want you to push the floor away so much that your upper back rounds. Yep. And then squeeze the shoulder blades together on the back that the heart melts. And you'll just do about 5 of those. So see if we can keep this just in our shoulder region. So shoulders come together and then shoulders go apart. Anatomically, this is our retraction when they come together and our protraction when they go apart. And you're just noticing what this feels like as you just do this. The next time you protract your shoulders, so they're spreading wide, I want you to drop your chin to your chest even more. I want you to drop your tailbone to the floor and find a really active Halloween cat. So keep pulling organs away from the floor. Drop your head a little more, drop your tail a little more, scoop your organs, press the floor. Fantastic. Then inhale, melt your heart, lift your sit bones, lift your head. We're going to pause here for a moment. So just because we got some stuff about our neck, I want you to drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And then see if you can pull back isometrically with your left hand. And then you'll inhale and come back through center. And then exhale to the other side. So our spine is in cow shape, but we're adding the side bend of the head to find a neck stretch. Awesome. And then you'll inhale and come through center and do that one more time each side. And you might notice that you want to open and close your mouth a few times. That gives you a little bit of sensation. For me, it feels like there's this tunnel that goes through, and it's like, wow, that's a fun, weird thing, an air tunnel. And you just notice what you notice. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. Nice work. All right, let's say we're balanced now. Come back through center. Curl both sets of toes under. Inhale, maybe lift your sternum forward a little bit more. And as you exhale, lift your pelvis up and back, head towards downward facing dog. And now in down dog, I would encourage you to see if you can just become aware of what you notice between the sides. How does the right side feel in comparison to the left? Can you press down actively through the L shape of your hands as you lift and make buoyant your inner armpits? Yeah, there you go, Sandy. And then notice what happens if you bring your ears in line with your inner arms. Can that find a bit of lengthening, tractioning through the neck? Nice work. At the end of your next exhalation, start to bend your knees and slowly walk your feet up towards your hands. Awesome. So other way, Sandy. Or do that. That works too. Cool. And then once you get to the top of your space, again, separate your feet hip distance apart. Maybe bring your hands to your blocks or keep them on the floor, but you're going to inhale and curl your heart and sternum forward and through Ardha Uttanasana. And again, just notice what you notice. Can you re-investigate your feet? So can you press into the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, the inner, the outer edge of the heels? Can you send your pubic bone softly back? Awesome. It's your next exhalation. Start to bend your knees. And now we're going to step the opposite leg back. So this is our right leg. It's going to step all the way back, low lunge. Great. And we're going to stay here. Notice if you need to adjust the distance between your feet, front to back, maybe walking your front foot forward or your back foot back. And then again, I want you to lift up through your inner right thigh, like a super hot air balloon, lifting that up. As that lifts, descend your pelvis. So there's a bit of opposition there. Reach your inner right thigh back so much while you descend the pelvis and reach your inner left knee forward. Keep descending the pelvis and lifting through your inner right thigh. Awesome sauce. Now from here, pull the heart and sternum forward just a little bit more so you find that elongation through your whole spine. Yep. And on your next exhale, lower the back knee down to the padding beneath you. Great. And then we'll just spend a couple breaths here. So again, still pressing into the right foot. If you need to adjust the height of your blocks for your hips, by all means do that. Again, inner right thigh lifts back, pelvis descends, heart reaches forward, shoulder blades slide down back. Nice deep breaths. Great. Next in breath, hands come to the center of your front thigh. And then again, keep sending your inner right thigh back. Allow the tailbone, the pelvis to drop towards the floor. And then you'll reach your right arm forward like you're shaking somebody's hand. And from the underside, reach up and overhead. And again, you might just choose to stay here. We've got this long stretch happening on the front of our right side body. Otherwise, you might pull the front ribs back a little bit and then reach up and over to your left. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. The front ribs are drawing back. The left foot is pressing down. The inner right thigh drawing back. Nice work. Next in breath, go ahead and come back up through center. As you exhale, bring the hands down to the floor or the blocks. Go ahead and remove the blocks off the mat. Step your left knee back to your right. And then find yourself again in that sad non-California cow shape. So static back. Heart melt, head melt, everything is just melting here. Now this time, we're going to just focus on separating things. So I want you to exhale and round into your cat shape. And then inhale, find neutral spine. And then again, exhale, round into your cat shape. See if you can make it a little bit deeper. And then inhale into your neutral spine. And you've got two more sets like that. So just rounding into your cat. And then inhaling into a flat neutral spine. And last time, rounding into your cat. Exhale, big breath out. And then inhale, neutral spine. Let's take that the other way. So take a breath cycle here. And then on your next inhale, you'll inhale into your cow shape. And then exhale into neutral spine. Feel the core come in to find that neutral spine. Yep. Inhale into cow, 4 of these. Exhale, engage the abdominal organs. Come into a neutral spine. Yeah, nice, Barbara. Inhale into cow. Exhale, neutral spine. Yep, and last one. Inhale into cow. And exhale, neutral spine. Great. Cool. Let's move on. Inhale, come forward to cow shape. As you exhale, curl the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Once you go back to down dog, just notice what you notice happening here. Do the sides feel a little bit more even to you? This time, can you really press the L shape of your hands down and forward? And I want you to find a line of energy going from the index finger through the thumb, up through the inner wrist, the inner elbow, the inner armpit, up into the shoulder blades, drawing them up through the side waist, up to your pelvis. Find that long, that looks nice, Roberta, long, long line. Awesome. Next, exhale, bend your knees and walk your feet to the top of your space. Cool. This time when you get to the top of your space, again, feet are hip distance apart. Hands might be on floor, hands might be on blocks. I want you to do what we would call in ballet land little plies, but before we do that, again, check in. Where is your weight? If you take those micro millimeter shifts forward and micro millimeter shifts back, can you find center in your foot? And then if you take a micromillimeter shift to the right and a micromillimeter shift to the left, can you find that center alignment of your foot? Once you feel like you found that, come to center, come to stillness, and then inhale, bend your knees. And exhale, straighten your legs. And you've got 4 of these. So little baby demi plies. You're just bending the knees and straightening the legs, trying to open up those ankles a bit. Maybe open up the backs of the legs a bit. Nice work. All right, let's go ahead and come to stillness with that. So no more little baby plies. Inhale, lift your heart and sternum forward, halfway lift. Hands on blocks, hands on shins, hands on floor, whatever works for you. And then one at a time, draw one hand to one hip. Draw the other hand to the other hip. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Again, check in with your feet. Can you press into the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, the inner, the outer edge of your feet or outer edge of your heel? Notice what happens now if you send your pubic bone back, pull your kneecaps up, and draw the shoulder blades onto your back a little bit more. Reach your crown away from you like you're drawing the turtle head out of the turtle shell. And on your next in-breath, sternum leads the way. Come all the way up to stand. Once you're back to vertical, take a moment to drop the hands, soften the gaze, maybe close the eyes completely, and just notice what you notice. How do you feel as compared to the very beginning? Can the shoulders maybe open a little bit more? Maybe circle the shoulders, maybe not. Cool, let's move on. Next in-breath, circle sweep your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, open the arms out into a cactus shape and then draw your hands back towards the floor. Cool. Hands come back to your butt. Inhale, this time heart and sternum lift. As you exhale, hands slide down, sort of a swan dive in the chest, come all the way down to the floor or your blocks. Again, take a moment to find the center of your foot. Notice if this time your head can be a little bit heavier. If your forward fold, your uttanasana, feels a little bit deeper simply by having stretched a couple of things. Nice work. All right, adding on. Inhale, hands come to blocks or shins, halfway lift. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, and then step your right leg long and back. The same leg we just had. Cool. Same thing as the first time. You might need to wiggle walk your left foot forward a little bit or your right foot back. Lift up through that inner seam of your right leg. Then from that, allow the pelvis to descend. So it might feel like your inner left knee goes forward a little bit more. Your inner right thigh goes back a little bit more. Your inner right thigh lifts up, but the pelvis descends. From there, let's go ahead and reach the heart and sternum forward and then see if you can scoop your belly a little bit away from your left thigh. Next exhale, lower your right knee down. And then this time, inhale, sweep both arms up and overhead. Fantastic. Now we're going to pause here again. Find that stability. So press into your left foot, Send your inner right thigh straight back behind you. Allow the pelvis to descend and your pinky fingers to reach up. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will bend your right elbow, grab your right elbow with your left hand, and maybe pat your right hand to the back of your shoulder space. Again, reach up through your right elbow, draw the right elbow to the left as you push the right elbow to the right. And then again, draw the front ribs in and back. And you might just stay here completely happy as a clam. You might notice what happens if you draw your shoulder blades together just a smidge on the back as you try to lift the sternum. Again, it's micromillimeter. Nobody may never see it. Awesome. Next in breath, both arms reach up. As you exhale, hands come down to the floor or the blocks. If you're using the blocks, step them off the mat. Step your, front foot back to meet your back foot. Cool. From here, inhale, cow shape, and then exhale, cat shape. So just 2 cats and cows here. You're doing the full range of movement. We took all that time doing nitty gritties and just notice what that feels like. Next in breath, come to cow. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then just notice, how's the breath? How are you? Cool. On your next in breath, lift to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend your knees and then walk to the top of your space. Once you find yourself at the top of your space, again, feet hip distance apart. And then inhale and exhale here, just noticing what you notice. Cool, let's move on. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on blocks or floor. And then exhale, bend your knees and step the opposite leg back. So this time we're gonna step our left leg long and back. Cool. With the left leg long and back, again, same things. If you need to wiggle walk the right foot forward, you do that. Otherwise, we're going to start by lifting our back inner thigh as much as we can. And so it seems counterintuitive, but the higher you lift it, the easier it makes some of these actions. So you really lift the thigh, and then from there, you're going to send your inner right knee forward, your inner left thigh knee back towards your left ankle. Allow the pelvis to descend as you keep lifting up through the inner seam of your left leg. From there, heart and sternum reach forward. And then we want to start to scoop our abdomen away from our inner right thigh and see if that allows you to lift more of your chest. Awesome. From there, soften the back knee to the mat. And then inhale, reach both arms up and overhead. Great. So same thing, press into right foot, push down into left knee, send the inner left thigh straight back, let the pelvis descend and then reach up through your pinky fingers. Happy to stay here or bend your left elbow, grab your left elbow with your right hand. Again, we're going to allow the left elbow to press to the left as you pull it to the right. See if you can draw your front ribs into your back body as your inner left thigh goes back. And then just a micro movement of the shoulder blades hugging together on your back body. Take a moment to notice what that feels like as you take in a deeper breath. Next in breath, both arms reach up. And as you exhale, hands come down to the floor or blocks. Remove the blocks and then step your front foot back to meet your back foot. Cool. This time we're going to go ahead and lift our hips directly to downward facing dog. Awesome. And from here, our blankets might become cumbersome to some of us, so you will have to mitigate that for yourself. But next in breath, you'll come forward into plank pose. And you're just going to take a couple breath cycles here. So just like we did with the serratus push-ups, push the floor away. Yep, there you go, Sandy. And then draw your low belly in and up. Lengthen. So lift those inner thighs up to the sky as you reach the inseams of your legs back to your feet. Next in breath, shift your weight forward and slower than you want to, lower all the way down to the floor. Nice work, guys and gals. Okay, once you get there, this is a slightly different cue than I've normally given, so we'll see how this works. I want you to claw your fingertips into your mat just a smidge, so the very tips of the fingertips claw in. And then I want you to feel like you're pulling, or rather pull your heart forward, and in opposition to that, see if you can pull your tailbone back to your feet, lift those inner thighs up. press your pinky toes down. From there, you'll notice that your head has probably come off the floor, so that's fine. Draw the shoulders up towards your ears. Draw the shoulder blades together on the back. Keep isometrically pulling the hands back to pull the heart forward, and find yourself in cobra to whatever height works for you. Nice. Next, exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Curl your toes under, press to hands and knees, and then lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Awesome. And then you just pause and you breathe. Notice what you're noticing right now in this shape. Okay. Inhale, press to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend your knees and travel to the top of your space. I would encourage you to walk for just a little bit, but there we go. And once you find yourself at the top of your space, go ahead and separate your feet hip distance apart. Cool. From here, inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Yeah. Draw the shoulder blades away from your ears. Draw the low belly in, and then check in with your feet. So we're really focused on our feet today. Notice if you shift your weight forward just a smidge, little micro movement. What does that do to the engagement of your legs? From here, draw a hand to a hip. Draw the other hand to the hip. And then we're going to take 4 little plies here. So you're going to bend your knees. And since you can see your knees and see your feet, ideally we want to make sure that our knees are tracking over the center of our foot. So second and third toes roughly. And you're just bending and straightening your legs. You're drawing the shoulder blades together on your back. You're noticing how this feels. Awesome. Cool. The next time your knees bend, you're going to keep your knees bent. Then you're going to bring your spine up to vertical. Then you're going to press down into your big toe mounds. You're going to press down into your pinky toe mounds. You're going to press in your inner heel, your outer heel. And maybe you keep your hands at your hips, or maybe you reach your arms forward in offering shape. And you pause and you breathe. Awesome sauce. Next in-breath, stand up. Allow the hands to soften alongside your hips. Close your gaze down or soften the gaze to the floor. And then just take a couple of breaths. What do you notice now? How's the breath in the body? How's the weight in your feet? All right, let's move on. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up and overhead. As you exhale, cactus the arms, draw the hands alongside your hips. This time, interlace your fingers at the back of your pelvis. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Draw your shoulder blades together on the back. Lift the heart. And as you exhale, you're going to take that swan dive with the spine by scooping the belly, reaching the sternum forward, allowing the head to descend. For the time being, let's keep our hands on our butt for just a moment. And I want you to notice with your hands on your butt, how heavy is your head? And then I want you to notice what's happening in your feet. Where's the weight? Is it even between front and back, or is your butt a little further back so your toes are a little lighter? Cool. Now notice if you can bring the heels of your hands to touch. See what that feels like. And then notice what happens if you start to draw your shoulders up towards your ears and then draw your shoulder blades together on your back. So it feels like maybe you're lifting the fronts of your inner armpits. And then notice what happens if you reach your arms up and then start to maybe reach your arms over your head. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what you notice. Awesome. Gently draw the hands back to your hips. Draw the hands down the legs and to the floor. From here, inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your left leg long and back. So hopefully this is the other side. Now from here, again, all the same actions we've been working on. So you're going to lift up through the inner left thigh. You're going to reach your inner thighs away from each other to allow the pelvis to descend. You're going to weight into your feet. And then you're going to reach your heart and sternum forward just a little bit more. Cool. Now from here, you're going to make your fingers just a little bit lighter by scooping that belly and letting the hands hover just a couple of inches away from the blocks. And you pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. Next exhale, fingers tap down, knee taps down. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Cool. Once you're here again, we're still sending that inner left thigh back. Our pelvis is descending. Our pinky fingers are reaching up. On your next exhale, you'll see if you can find a little bit more length first and then rotate to your right. Maybe bring your left hand outside of your right knee and then see if you can lift your sternum up here and then rotate towards your right hand. So sternum lifts, inner left thigh goes back, right low belly pulls in, and you rotate to your right. Nice work. Okay, next in breath, come through center, arms high. And then exhale, hands come down to the floor. Listen closely. Hands are on the mat. Lift your back thigh up and away from the floor and step your front foot to meet your back foot. Plank pose. Great. Pause here. Take in a deep breath and let go of an exhalation. Next in breath, bend your knees. And then as you exhale, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pause and breathe. Pause and breathe and just notice. How's the right side? How's the left side? Next in breath, press to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend your knees and travel to the top of your space. That's funny, Roberta. Once you find yourself there, again, feet hip distance apart, notice if you can let the head be heavy and the legs be long. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, plant your palms and step the opposite leg. So our right leg long and back. Cool. So find that lunge. Again, lift through the inside edge of your right leg. Send your inner seam, so inner left knee forward, inner right thigh back, and then let the pelvis descend. Reach your heart and sternum forward. Start to scoop the belly on the left side and see if you can reach the sternum a little bit further forward and scoop that belly and press through your feet so you can hover your hands away from the floor. Awesome sauce. Next, exhale, fingers tap down, back knee taps down. Great. And then inhale, sweep both arms high. Cool. And then you're going to pause again, push into the front foot, draw the inner right thigh straight back, pelvis descends, sternum starts to lift. Find more length on your inhalation, and as you exhale, rotate to your left. Maybe right hand comes to the outer edge of your left thigh. And then you really want to see if you can use the contact with hand and thigh to lift up through your spine. Let the sternum elongate and then pull the low belly in on the left side, rotate across the organs, and maybe look towards your back hand. Nice work. Next in breath, come back through center, arms high. And then exhale, hands come down to the block or down to the mat rather. Tuck the back toes under, lift back leg high, and step yourself back to plank pose. Cool. Let's move on. Inhale, shift your weight forward, and exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Cool. This time, when you're down on the floor, go ahead and extend your arms back alongside your hips, palms face down. So very similar to when we're standing in what is called anatomical neutral. Now, today, let's make sure the tops of our feet are on the floor. Yep. And I want you to press into your pinky toenails a lot. Notice what that does when you do that. Okay. Keep that engagement in your pinky toes. Now press into your big toes. See if you can keep that even. Now notice what happens if you start to energize your legs. Then notice what happens in your pelvis if you root your pubic bone and allow the tailbone to do what it does. It might start to reach back or it might just reach up to the sky. It's up to you. And then draw the shoulders up towards your ears. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back and lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. Now this one is really up to each of you. I want you to press your pinky finger or your fingertips into the mat and then see if you can pull them isometrically forward. So you're really clawing into the mat And then notice that that allows you to draw the shoulder blades together on your back just a little bit. The elbows might bend. And if they do, that's great. If they don't, that's great. Now from there, see if you can crawl your fingers back and maybe wide and maybe lift a little bit. Wow, nice, Roberta. A little bit more of your chest up and away from the floor. Now, some of you might stay here and just reach your sternum forward and lift your head up, letting it be a long upper back bend. Some of you might start to reach so far back through your toes, through your feet, that your legs start to hover up and away from the floor. Some of you might choose to then reach your hands so far back that you can float them up and away from the floor. Yeah. And then some of you might hug the shoulder blades together on the back a little bit more, sternum a little bit comes forward just a little bit more. And you pause and you breathe for 3. You pause and you breathe for 2. You pause and you breathe for 1. Go ahead and lower all the way down. Plant your hands alongside your lowest ribs. And then when you're ready, either hands and knees or plank pose, and then you'll make your way back to downward facing dog. And you just take a moment to pause and breathe when you get there. And if you're not there yet, that's fine. Just pause and you breathe. You pause and you breathe. Awesome. Okay, let's move on. Inhale, raise the balls of your feet. And exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float, top of space. Nice. Awesome. And then once you get to the top of your space again, feet are hip distance apart. Inhale, bend your knees. And exhale, straighten your legs. Awesome. This time as you inhale, bend your knees, sweep your arms forward, sit your butt low, Utkatasana, chair pose. Cool. Hopefully that didn't feel too bad. And then you're just going to pause here for a moment. You're pressing into your big toe mounds, your pinky toe mounds, your inner, your outer heels. You're allowing your inner thighs to go straight back behind you. And now we're going to hug our outer hips in just a smidge. And then see if you can lift up through your pinky fingers, if you can lift your sternum, if you can lengthen through your neck. Next in-breath, stand up, reach up, maybe look up. And then exhale, hands come alongside your hips. Soften the gaze or close the eyes. Bring a hand to the heart, a hand to the abdomen, and take a moment to check in. What do you notice now? I'm finding myself asking this question because I think so often we can become sideswiped by the big things that happen that we don't notice this tiny, gradual, incremental steps that are having this profound impact on our lives, on our beings, on our relationships. And as our practice is exploring today, sometimes those tiny, small things, if we do them enough, have big changes. And so as you're here right now, I just invite you to notice what has changed in your body. It might just be how your breath feels underneath your hand and your underneath your hands, one on the heart and one on the gut. It might be how your feet are connecting with the floor, or maybe how the backs of your legs are really allowing you to find stability so that your heart can stay open in this standing posture. Whatever it is, let's take a moment to just note it. All right, let's move on. Go ahead and lower your hands. Open the eyes. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus the arms. Squeeze the shoulder blades on the back. Draw the hands alongside your hips. Bring your hands behind us again. Take the awkward opposite interlace. And then draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Draw your shoulder blades together on the back. Sternum and heart lift. And then as you exhale, you're going to scoop your belly, hinge at your hips, heart comes forward, head descends down. Once your head goes towards the floor again, pay attention to how the feet are connecting with the support beneath you. Notice if you can draw more length in your head by just elongating your neck, and then maybe figure out if you want to keep your hands near your tuchus or start to explore with reaching them up and away from you. But again, we're paying attention to the small things. So now that I'm not giving you so many direct instructions about it, how can you remind yourself of the small things that you might have found before that had an impact on you that you'd like to maybe carry forward? Awesome. When you're ready, the hands will come back to your butt. They'll slide down your legs and down to the floor. Cool. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then as you exhale, we're going to bend our knees. We're going to plant our palms. And I think this time we have to take our right leg back because that was one that just came forward. So let's hope so. And if not, I'm sorry. Okay. And then same thing that we did before. So we really want to root into our front foot, root into our back foot, find that buoyancy, that lift through your inner right thigh, and then send your inner left knee forward, your inner inseam of the right leg back. Start to reach your heart and sternum forward. Scoop the belly on the left side. Start to make the hands a little lighter and see if you can come all the way up to Ashtha Chandrasana. High crescent lunge, fantastic. Maybe the hands are about along the hips. Maybe the arms are up and overhead, but notice the stability in the legs. Notice the lift through the hands as the grounding of the feet take precedence. And then again, pelvis descends, inner right thigh lifts up. Awesome. Next exhale, hands come back down to the floor. Soften the back knee down to your padding. Awesome sauce. Then from there, inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Cool. So this one's going to be weird and we'll see how it goes. Let's push into our front foot, push into the back knee. Keep drawing your inner right thigh back as the pelvis descends and the pinky fingers extend up towards the sky. Now this time we're going to take that side bend thing that we did before, but turn it sort of into a twisty back bend. So your left hand is going to drop to the left. It's going to find that inner edge of your right thigh, maybe the outer edge of your right thigh. Your right arm is going to reach up. And you're going to take a little side bend to the left, and maybe it turns into a slight back bend. But you're just pausing and you're breathing. Cool. Sorry, Sandy, I'll turn this way. So hand touches inner thigh. We reach up and over, and it might turn into more of a back bend. There we go. And then when you're ready, let's go ahead and inhale, come back up through center, arms high. Exhale, hands to the floor. Curl your back toes under, straighten your back leg long, and step yourself back to downward facing dog. So here's a different transition. And you just pause in your down dog. Send your inner thighs back and apart. Lift through the inner edge of your arms. Awesome. On your next exhale, see if you can draw the low ribs away from the floor. Inhale, press to the balls of your feet. Exhale, bend the knees, and then step or float top of space. Nice. And once you find yourself at the top of your space, again, feet hip distance apart, take a moment to notice what that feels like. That's nice, Barbara. And then we'll try the other side. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms. This time, I believe we should be taking our left leg back. So opposite leg, it should be our left leg. There we go. And then again, all the same thing. So push into your feet, lift the inseam of your left leg. Allow the inner right knee to go forward, the inner left knee to go back as the pelvis descends. Reach the heart and sternum forward, lengthen out through the neck. Start to scoop the belly, start to make the hands light, and then bring maybe your spine up to vertical. That looks very stable, guys. Good job. Maybe the hands stay alongside our hips, or maybe they extend up and overhead for Ashtha Chandrasana. That looked very stable, guys and gals. Good job. I'm so happy. Okay, well, you guys can do whatever you want and I'll still be happy, but go ahead and send the inner thigh back. Again, descend or stretch your inner knees apart. Let the pelvis descend. And on your exhale, hands come down to the floor or the blocks. Lower the back knee down to the padding. Great. Then inhale, go ahead and come back up through vertical. Yep. And again, root through your front foot. Send the inner left thigh back. The pelvis descends. The pinky fingers reach. And now we're going to try that weird side bend, back bend thing. So your right arm is going to reach to the right. It's going to come to the inside or maybe the back or the outside of your left thigh. You're going to reach up through the left arm and take a little baby side bend towards your right. You might then draw the shoulder blades on the back so the heart lifts up to the sky. But you're just taking this variation of exalted warrior and noticing what you notice. Fantastic. Inhale, come back through center, both arms high. And then exhale, hands come down to the floor. Curl the back toes under, straighten the back leg long, back to downward facing dog. Take a moment to pause. Take a moment to breathe. Cool. Inhale, come forward into plank pose. As you exhale, you'll shift your weight forward and lower all the way down. Take a moment once you get there to just bring one ear to the mat. And then whichever side you're looking, so it looks like most of us are looking to the right, go ahead and bend your right knee. Grab your right foot with your right hand. Gentle, gentle quad stretch. And you're just taking a moment to pause here. This isn't hopefully too intense. And if it is, please adjust accordingly. And you're just noticing. Can you see what happens if you allow the pelvis to descend to the floor here and those inner thighs to become a little bit lighter? Awesome. Gently release whichever leg you're holding. Draw the opposite ear to the mat. Bend that same leg and just take a gentle quad stretch here. And you just pause and you breathe. Notice what's happening in that shoulder. Can you draw the shoulder blade onto the back body? Yeah, Robin. And you allow the pelvis to continue to descend. Cool. All right, when you're ready, gently release. Bring your head back to the floor or forehead back to the center of the mat. Bring your hands alongside your hips. There we go. Palms face down. Start with your pinky toes, so really press your pinky toenails into the floor. Then find the support of the big toenails pressing evenly. Strengthen through the legs. Allow the pelvis or the pubic bone to descend to the mat. Draw the shoulders up towards your ears. Draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. And then isometrically, you're going to push your fingertips into the mat and pull your heart forward. That looks very cool. And then from there, notice if you want to stay in this position, or maybe you want to reach your hands a little wider and back so that you can lift more of your chest up and away from the floor. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will reach so far back through your toes and your feet that your legs will lift up and away from the floor. Some of you will reach so far back through your arms that maybe the hands will reach up and away from the floor. And some of you may want to interlace your hands at the back of your body for Shalabhasana. You choose what works for you, but we're going to be here for another 5 breaths. So here's the other theory I've been playing with this week. Sometimes I think our bodies, when they're hurting the most, actually just need a little bit more strength and conditioning versus stretching. So we're doing strength and conditioning for those of us who said our back was not feeling so great. So hopefully this helps. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and lower all the way down to the floor. And we'll have a reprieve for about 30 breaths. Well, not 30 breaths, that would be a long time. 30 seconds. So if you want to bring an ear to the mat, do that. If you want to stack your hands, do that. If you want to gently bend your knees and windshield wiper your legs, see if that feels good to you. But you're moving slowly so that you can allow the small incremental things to have the compounding impact that they could have in a positive manner. All right, you got about 4 more breath cycles doing whatever you're doing. And then when you are ready to move on, hands will come alongside your ribs. You'll curl your toes under. And either through hands and knees or plank pose, you'll make your way back to downward facing dog. Cool. Let's see how this goes. Inhale, raise to the balls of your feet. Exhale, bend your knees. And step or float top of space. Nice. I like that. Cool. And once you get there, again, take a moment. Separate your feet hip distance apart. Reconnect with the 4 corners of your feet. Notice if once you find your foot completely centered, you can find the activation of your sit bone. So the very base of your pelvis down to your feet. Then notice if you can pull your kneecaps up Scoop the belly a little bit more, send your inner thighs back a little bit more, and allow the head to drop even more. Yeah, all right, cool. From here, hands on floor or blocks. Inhale, bend your knees, and exhale, straighten your legs. And here's our last one. Inhale, bend the knees, sweep the arms, Utkatasana, chair pose. Nice work. And again, we're just going to sit. So press the big toe down, the pinky toe mound, the inner, the outer edge of the feet. Notice what happens if it feels like you can feel your scapula really protract around your spine. As you lift up through your pinky fingers, you lift up through your sternum, you find the elongation through your spine. Next in-breath, stand up, reach up, look up. And then exhale, hands come alongside your hips. Take a moment to soften the gaze or close the eyes. And then again, just notice, how's it feeling? Cool. All right. When you're ready, let's go ahead and open our eyes. If your blanket is still in the middle of your mat, go ahead and move that. And we're going to see how all of these shapes come together in a shape that's not really, or all these actions come together in a shape that's not really the same. So let's turn to face the long edge of our mat. And then I want you to separate your feet hip distance apart. Hip distance apart, wow, that's not hip distance apart, about 3 to 4 feet apart, so a wide straddle. So before we go into a different shape, I want us to stretch our side body. So let's go ahead and reach our left arm up and overhead. And we're gonna keep our right hand on our hip or maybe slide our right hand down towards our leg. It's totally up to you, depending upon what you're feeling in your torso. But you'll start to reach up and then side bend over to your right. So you might notice that having the hand creep down the leg feels nice to you. You might want to keep it on your hip. Wherever you are, I want you to allow the pelvis, the tailbone, all that to just drop straight down to neutral. You'll scoop the low belly on your left side and maybe see if you can rotate up and look underneath your armpit. And you're just finding this long, crazy stretch from your pinky finger all through your shoulder, your hip. Awesome sauce. Next in breath, the left arm reaches up, it reaches to the left, it pulls you up like it's a cane. And then you lower the hand and you just take a moment to notice, how does the right side feel in comparison to the left? And then when you're ready to try the other side, maybe the left hand comes to the left hip as the right arm reaches up. And then we take the little side bend over to the opposite direction. Maybe the left hand slides down the thigh. Maybe it stays right at your hip. Again, let the pelvis just drop, the low belly scoop in. Maybe you look underneath your top armpit. Yeah, long side body stretch. And then we'll inhale. Right arm reaches up, it reaches out, the spine comes up to center. Drop the hands and just take a moment to notice. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and turn our left foot to the right, our right foot to the top or the short edge of our mat. And then I want you to bend your right knee. So we're thinking of sending that inner right knee forward. But this time, see if it can come from your pelvis. So it's going forward. And then in opposition to that, your inner left thigh is lifting up and your pelvis is descending down. And you'll notice if you need to wiggle up your feet a little further apart. So the inner knees are really reaching in opposite directions. That inner left thigh is lifting up, the pelvis is descending down, and you're lightly hugging that outer right hip in. So we've got this warrior two leg shape going on. And then once your legs feel active, go ahead and open out through the arms. And then you'll just take a few moments to just breathe here. So the activation is really in the legs. The feet are pushing into the floor actively. Your inner right knee is going forward. Your inner left thigh is lifting up as the inner right thigh reaches down towards your foot. The arms are extending out, and maybe take your gaze over your front middle finger. Nice. On your next exhale, go ahead and straighten the legs, lower the arms, come back through center, and just notice what you notice. And then we'll try that on the other side. So hands come to your hips. The right foot turns to the left. The left foot turns to the left, to the short edge of your mat. You'll start to bend into your front knee now. So that's your left knee. And then again, the line of energy goes from your pelvis into your left knee, and that's going forward. And then there's another line of energy that goes from your pelvis through your right knee, but you're still lifting your inner right thigh behind you. Let the pelvis descend. Notice if you need to wiggle walk your feet a little further back to allow that to happen. And then once you feel like your feet are active, that outer left hip is drawing back, you can go ahead and open out the arms and just notice that there's so much effort that's always required in this pose, and maybe we don't always notice it, or maybe it's not always there to support the shape. Awesome sauce. All right. On your next in breath, go ahead and straighten the leg, lower the arms, come back through center. Cool. Awesome sauce. All right. Hands come back to hips. Left toes turn to the right. Right toes turn to the right. Again, bend your front knee. So again, finding that splits-like action in the inner thighs. You might even notice that if you internally rotate your back leg a little bit, so for me, that means swinging the heel back a little bit, it allows me to have more of that internal rotation of the back leg, which will then allow me to descend the pelvis while lifting the inner thigh. But that's a side note. Okay, once your legs are active, arms reach out. And similar to what we just did before, let's go ahead and flip our front palm so it faces up to the sky. Our back arm is going to reach back and it's going to tap the top of our left outer thigh. You'll start to reach up through your right arm, and then happy baby little side bend goes up and to the back, and you scoop the low belly in, and then maybe you peek underneath your top armpit, and we find Virba or Viparita Virabhadrasana, reverse warrior. Nice job. Keep the descent in the pelvis as you lift through the inner thigh. Yeah. Inhale, come back up through vertical. Back to warrior two. As you exhale, let's straighten the leg. Let the hands come through center. Take a moment. And then we'll try all that on the other side. So right toes turn to the left. Maybe the right heel swings back. The left heel or left toes points to the left, the short edge of the mat. Bend into that front knee. Again, find that activation. So it's really starting from the pelvis, the core of our body, extending and radiating out. And then once you've got all that going on from the pelvis, into the legs, into the feet, into the floor, extend out through your arms. Nice work. Take the front palm and flip it to the sky. Take your back hand, reach it back and tap it onto the right thigh, leg, wherever it reaches. Inhale, reach up through your left arm, and then happy baby side bend, really hugging front ribs into the back body, reaching up and out through your left fingers, descending the pelvis to the floor, and maybe peeking underneath your top armpit. Nice work. Inhale, come back up through center. As you exhale, straighten the leg. Bring both feet parallel. Cool. From here, we'll just take a breath before I move us on. Just notice what you notice. Make sure your feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat. Hands will come to your hips. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Now, your choice. Hands can stay at hips. Hands can slide down legs, or hands can be interlaced at your back. We've done all these arm variations. So you choose what's going to work for you, but we're going to come forward into Prasarita Padottanasana. So you're coming into this wide, legged, forward fold with the arms at whatever variation feels most appropriate for you. And as you go, I want you to notice the small incremental things that are happening. How is the weight of your feet here? Do you feel the weight is more on the big toe mound, the inner edge of the feet, or the pinky toe mound, the outer edges of the feet? Are your arches lifted up and away from the floor? Is the weight more forward or backwards in your feet? How is the head descending, the shoulders descending? Awesome. If your hands are at your bum, bring your hands, or rather behind your back, bring your hands to your bum, slide them down the legs and to the floor. Awesome. From here, let's bring our hands underneath our shoulders. Lift our spine about halfway up from the floor. And then I want you to just bend one knee and then the other, just feeling what that feels like on the outside edge of the bent kneecap. And you're slowly doing that and feeling what that feels like, opening across the pelvis, the calves. Cool. Once you're balanced and even between both sides, we'll come to center. If you are hypermobile or you have pretty open hamstrings, I want you to wiggle walk your feet a little further in towards midline. And actually, let's all of us just wiggle walk our feet a little bit more towards the midline. There we go. Cool. And Sandy, I'm sorry you told me what this is called, but I can't remember it. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, you're going to bend your knees. So we're in our little football hiking pose. Reach your sternum forward. I want you to send your inner knees apart from each other and then bring one hand to one hip, the other hand to the other hip. Sternum leads the way. Come up to stand. If you're dizzy at all, you drop your chin to your chest as your sternum lifts up. Yep. And then maybe soften the gaze or close the eyes and just notice. Cool. If the eyes are closed, go ahead and open the eyes. And your choice, you either hop or step the feet together. And then you're going to make your way to the top of your space. Top of your space. Nice work. All right. Cool. Last thing. With your feet hip distance apart, let's go ahead and inhale, circle sweep our arms up and overhead. As you exhale, swan dive forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, plank pose. Cycle through an up dog or a cobra, and then make your way back to downward facing dog before resting in child's pose. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice. You pause and you breathe and you notice. Awesome. And if you're not in child's pose yet, start to make your way there. And I want you to just take a couple of breaths. Couple of breaths. What are you noticing about the weight of the body into the floor? What are you noticing about the softness or the tense? I can't think of the word for this. The tension in the muscles. What are you noticing about your breath? What are you noticing about the mind? What are you noticing about your feeling state? When you've made those observations, you'll bring yourself up to vertical. And if your body likes to be wrapped up, this would be a great time to start wrapping your body up. So maybe putting on a sweater or a sock, and then you'll make your way onto your back. And when you find yourself on your back, let your head be towards the top of your mat. So your blocks will be easily accessible to you, and hopefully your strap will be easily accessible to you. So head towards the top of your space. There we go. Maybe turn around, Barbara. Yep. And when you find yourself on your back, the first thing that I'd like you to do is just go ahead and bend your knees and plant your feet firmly on the floor. Okay, and just check in and notice what you're noticing in the curves of your spine. Draw your right knee into your chest, interlace your hands at the back of your right thigh, and then slide your left leg long on the floor beneath you. Really actively flex through that leg. Here, roll your inner left thigh to the floor. So really keep rolling that to the floor. A little less, Roberta. Yeah. And then from here, I want you to start to kick your right thigh into your hands. Really, really, so the knee stays bent. Really kick the thigh into the hands and pull in opposition. So then send your inner left thigh to the floor, your left heel to the floor, kick your thigh, your right thigh into your hands, pull it in. And then notice if you want to find a deeper compression. So you can find a 90-degree angle with that right leg or really pull it into your chest. But find the opposition. So you're finding a stretch with muscular engagement with it. Cool. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will start to kick your right foot up towards the sky. When you do this, you might notice that it might feel nice to have your strap around the ball of your foot. It's easily accessible, hopefully. So then you can just put the strap across the ball of the foot and send the foot up towards the sky. But wherever you are, we are thinking about rolling our inner left thigh to the floor and then sending our inner right thigh towards our left foot. And then reaching, extending from our right sit bone up to our right heel, curling our toes to our face as you push up into the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, the inner and the outer edge of that right heel. And if it's not too abstract, do the same in the left foot. So you're pressing out evenly through the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, the inner, the outer edge of the foot. And you are happy to stay here, happy as a clam. Or if you are using that strap, you might bring both ends of the strap into your left hand. You might draw your right thumb to your right hip crease and then cross the right leg a couple of inches over to the left as you push your right thigh away from you. If you are using your hands at the back of your thigh, you can do the same thing by just bringing your right thumb to your right hip crease, and then you'll hold on to your right thigh with the outside or with your left hand on the outside edge of your right thigh. And you just pause and you breathe. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale and you'll come back through center. You'll release the knee into the chest, so bend the knee. If you've got the strap, say bye-bye to the strap. And then just plant the foot on the floor, knee bent, and then drag the left foot to meet the right foot. Take a moment to notice what's going on between the sides. And then we'll try that on the other side. So draw your left knee into your chest, interlace your hands at the back of your left thigh. Slide your right leg forward along the floor. Now from here, you're flexing through that right leg. You're holding onto the back of your left thigh and then roll your inner right thigh to the floor. Start to kick or press your left hamstring into your hands as you pull your hands into your hamstring. And again, you might find deep flexion. So maybe drawing that left knee pretty close to your armpit or chest, maybe finding it as a more 90-degree angle. It's totally up to you. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will start to extend the left knee to reach the left foot up towards the sky. As we take this, notice if you're like, yeah, this is fine. I don't need the strap. But we're taking a couple of moments to just be there. And then notice if you want the strap. And if you are, again, we're rolling the inner right thigh to the floor. We're rolling the inner left thigh away from us. We're pressing up through our heel. We're pressing up through the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, the inner, the outer heel. And then you're breathing. Cool. Barbara, more inner rotation on your right leg. So inner right thigh roll. There we go. And some of you may stay right here. Some of you might draw both ends of the strap into your right hand. You might draw your left thumb to your left hip crease. And then you actively push your left thigh away from you as you cross the left thigh a couple of inches over to your right. And you pause and you breathe wherever you are, reaching out through that left heel quite a bit. Yep. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale and come back through center. You'll release the knee into the chest. You'll release the strap away from the floor. And then you'll put both feet on the floor. Okay. Now, when you come here, can you bring both of your hands to the tops of your thighs? So your thumbs are kind of pressing, or your thumbs are on the inside edges and your fingers wrap around your thighs. There we go. And I want you to lock out your arms as best as you can. So push your hands into your thighs and see if you can find some elongation through your spine. The closer your hands are to your pelvis, the more you might feel the elongation. But I also have really long arms, so you mitigate that for you. And then once you feel like you've gotten the spine long, you'll gently release that. Open your arms out into a T shape. Pick your butt up and slide your butt a little bit to the right and put your butt back down. Okay, this is going to sound weird, but I want you to hug both of your knees to your chest just a little bit. Now squeeze your legs towards each other actively. So feet are off the floor, active feet, active inner thighs. Okay. Choose what works best for you, whether your palms are facing up or whether your palms are facing down. You're going to look to your right hand and slowly drop your legs over to the left. They're not going to touch the floor. You're going to push your bottom leg, so that's your left leg, into your right leg. And we're just trying to get a little bit of core engagement as we do a twist and rotation through the spine. So Steve, arms are open out to the right and to the left, just for counterbalance. Yep, there we go. And you can let your legs go as far to the left as you want, but you are using your abdominal organs and that bottom inner thigh to keep the legs hovering. Yep. And then on your next in-breath, you're going to come back up through center. Take a moment to put your feet down onto the floor. Recenter your butt so it's directly underneath your head. And then just notice if you notice anything between the sides. And then when you're ready to try again, you'll lift your butt. You'll slide your butt to the left. You'll put your butt back down. Draw your legs in towards you. Hug the inner thighs, inner legs together. Flex through those feet. And then turn to look at your left hand and slowly allow the legs to descend towards the right. And again, they're not going to touch. We're going to let them hover so that bottom thigh is really pushing up to the top thigh. Your top organ, so that your left organs are sweeping up. Your right rib cage is rolling up, and you're finding this engaged rotation through the spine. Yeah, fantastic. Next in breath, go ahead and come back up through center. Lower your feet to the floor. Put your butt down and recenter your butt underneath your head. Walk your feet outside of your hips. Let your knees knock in. Wrap your arms around your torso for constructive rest. And I want you to just check in and see if there's anything that you feel like your body might feel like it might need to completely unwind. So for some of you, you might just be ready to go to Shavasana. You might want a few little windshield wipers of legs. You might want Supta Baddha Konasana or a figure 4, but you're checking in with what feels right to you. It's very funny that I say this so often, and as I'm saying it now, I want to emphasize the point that if we can start to pay attention to the small feelings, the incremental ones that sometimes we move too quickly past, it will give us the opportunity to lay the groundwork for bigger things. And that can be both the positive and the negative, you know? So as you're here, we're developing the power of awareness. And more importantly, we're developing the power of taking action on that awareness, of listening and honoring our own intuition. So as you're here and you're taking these last few shapes or last final shape, I encourage you to continue to breathe into your body, to notice what I guess one would call, Martha Beck would call, feeling a yes, a whole-bodied yes, versus what might not feel like a whole-bodied yes. And then once you're complete, there is no rush. I would encourage you to make your way to your final resting pose. And go there with the intention of allowing yourself the pleasure of setting yourself up well so that you can rest. So if that means you use blocks or pillows or blankets to support limbs, great. If that means that you support or maintain rather, the heat of the body with a blanket. Maybe you might even want a bit of weight on the body. Sometimes it feels nice to have um, some type of weight on the abdomen, on the pelvis to just create a bit more grounding. But you just take your time to set yourself up. And then once you are established, you're going to take 5 breaths, very similar to how we started. Big breath in and a big breath out. As you take your next series of breaths, though, my invitation is to elongate your exhalation. So maybe your first exhale is maybe 4 beats, and maybe in a soft, effortless way, you can gradually extend it. So maybe it might become 5 beats or 6. Maybe even get all the way up to 10. But can you do it in a way that's effortless, that's easeful? And as you continue to just fall into the shape and your breath continues to deepen, I invite you to notice where you can start to allow some of those small messages to seep in, where they tell you you can soften a little bit more here. You can open a little bit more there. You can relax just a bit here. And as you continue to stay in this shape and stay with your breath, allow the breath to both highlight those points as well as nurture those points. They point out the small little things and then they support them, they usher them through. I'll go ahead and leave you here with your breath for the next few moments, the next few breaths, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. Notice if there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape. If there is, by all means, please stay here. When you do feel the impetus to move, allow movement to re-enter into the form in whatever way feels curious, warm, welcoming to you. Those in stillness, again, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, make your way to your right side. You'll pause there for a few breath cycles. From your side, you'll start to roll your chest more towards the floor. Press your spine up to vertical, and then make your way to a comfortable seat. When you are vertical, I encourage you to take the opportunity to sit well. So if you need to remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones, do that. If you need to circle the shoulders, do that. But you'll soften the gaze or close the eyes. And then you'll just take a moment to bring hand to heart and hand to stomach. Just take 3 breaths. What are the small incremental changes you can make right now to allow the spine to sit a little taller, to allow the shoulders to soften just a bit, to allow the breath to become a bit deeper? It's very interesting that sometimes the most profound things that we can do for ourselves and others are the things that perhaps no one else can see. And so as you take the last few breaths here, I invite you to just notice those things for yourself. What are the small changes you've made for you that have made a big impact? And can you congratulate yourself, celebrate those small wins? We'll go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum, and then lift your sternum to your thumbs. Elongate through your ears, and then exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light and the breath, that a small change within me honors and salutes the light and the breath, the small change within you. Namaste.